took out 4 corners in total. It was the track with the most corners on the grid until the removal of those 4 corners and the arrival of the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Of course, as well, holds shades of some very famous races in the past, as this track held the first ever night race in Formula 1 history, Singapore 2008. Who can forget Nelson Piquet binning the Renault 16 laps into the race? Fernando Alonso going on to win that day in the Renault. Felipe Massa, you may remember as well, dragging the Ferrari fuel nose down the length of the pit lane, leaving the pit box too early. All that in the past. What do our 17 drivers have in store for us today? 2 McLaren, 2 Ferrari, 2 Williams, 2 VCarb, 2 Alpine, 2 Aston Martin, 2 Haas cars I see, 1 Mercedes, 1 Kick Sauber, and 1 Red Bull. NMX James, the 1 Red Bull. Jabba, the Soul, Sauber, and Ryan, the singular Mercedes as well, as the first cars go rolling down pit lane. Down the far end of the grid, it is one of the Alpines first out on track. It is the Dutchie rolling on a set of the medium yellow wall compound tyres. Also rolling down pit lane, we have one of the Ferraris. That was Grant's, going on a set of the red walled soft compound tyres. Championship challenger at the moment, just 8 points behind Regent, and does really need a good race today. Also coming down on track, Moomin Rider, who's shown flashes of pace throughout the season, just needs to stabilise it a bit more, cut out a few of the mistakes, and he'll be right up toward the front. Look for him around the top 10 through much of the qualifying session. As also rolling down pit lane, Schnellenk in the second Alpine alongside the Dutchie. Jam Toast in the VCarb as well. Osborne, Storms, and NMX James, the lone Red Bull driver. NMX James, of course, the Tier 2 champion. For those of you who are unaware, there is actually 2 mini championships. 2 championships run, almost done like the endurance racing driver classes. So you have the full-time championship, to which everyone is entered, as long as you are a full-time driver, and then there is the Tier 2 championship, which are potentially those that are slightly slower. Every team has 1 Tier 2 driver, and those drivers are entered into their own little championship that has its own point scoring as well. As here we go with the Dutchie in the blue and pink Alpine up toward the first 3 corners. Let's ride on board with the Dutchie to see the streets of Singapore. Turn 3, second gear corner, you can see there shown on the steering wheel. Then it's a blast down through turn 4, turn 5, then a proper corner. So easy to drift out wide on worn tyres, clip the barrier, break off part of your front wing if you're not careful. Turn 6, absolutely flat out, and then hard onto the brake for turn 7. Turn 8, turn 9, 90 degree switchbacks. And turn 9, the widest of the lot, and you can carry the pace out wide. Watch out for the literal pedestrian curbing on the exit. Turn 10, what used to be known as the Singapore Sling, takes you down to the chicane at 11 and 12, where we cross the Anderson Bridge. Turn 13, 14 come at you pretty quickly, and then it's a blast back down past the marina, hard onto the brakes. Turn 15, this doesn't really count as a corner, a little jink. This is where the old grandstand section used to be. Now it's onto the brakes for turns 16 and 17. Floor the throttle. Turn 18, 19, you take as much curb as you can, carry the speed, run it out wide up to the line. The Dutchie 131.3, the first lap of the day. Next to the line will be the Ferrari of Grant, done on a set of soft compound tyres, so expect this to be faster. I wasn't expecting 3.1 seconds though, the pace difference to be. The Grant's laying down the marker early for Regent, who is on track at the moment on an outlap. Moomin Rider 1:30.5, what, 2.3 seconds off the pace of Grant Schnellenk at 32.2. That done on a set of softs. Moomin Rider on a set of mediums, so more time to find for Moomin Rider. This is definitely a track where you can really feel the difference in tyre grip from the softs, the mediums and the hards. It also wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing some drivers do double warm-up laps to get the tyres into the right spot. Other times coming in, Jam Toast 32.2, just in front of Schnellenk. Osborne 31.8, Storms 30.8, NMX James 1:30.798 done on a set of mediums. Daddy Cool 32.9 in the Haas. Z2 in the Aston Martin on a flying lap, so too is QB and Ale. The Z2 now over the Anderson Bridge, hard onto the brakes at turn 13. Z2 may just be able to pick up a bit of a slipstream from Grant's in front down this what is now much faster final sector. So much more about straight line speed than it ever was in the past. Onto the brakes for the final chicane under the highway. And there's Grant getting nicely out the way on the way back to the pits. Turn 18, 19. Z2 the front of that Aston Martin, not wanting to hang in there at all. It was an invalidated lap. Run out a fraction too wide at the end. And Z2 now will have to go round again. Who else is on the way to end a lap? Regent is on the far end of the track, so that's Storms, the McLaren coming back past. Moomin Rider asking if he got kicked out. I don't think so, Moomin, but you're showing us back in the garage. I don't think I've got you as a EA friend. You can maybe get someone else to send you an invite back. Meanwhile, other track times, other drivers coming up to the line to finish a lap. Daddy Cool on his way back to the pits, and the next car will be QB in the Ferrari. Last couple of corners for the Ferrari driver 9. Moomin Rider back in the lobby. QB a 32.4 goes P9. Regent next to the line 28.599. Some nearly 3.5 tenths of a second off Grant's there. So it's advantage Ferrari, advantage Grant's off the first round of qualifying. Storms though doing a job for his McLaren teammate, making sure the constructors stays the way of the Woking based team. Going into the summer break, 21 points between Ferrari and McLaren. Z2 going round again. Looks like may have just enough fuel for another lap if he's got the tyres to do it, judging by what I can read on the dashboard there. Ryan Matum and Krytek about to start flying laps. It's over the line there in just the last couple of moments. Who was that? That looks like that was a Lele in the Williams. Indeed it was. 1:30.1. Currently, I was about to say currently best of the rest, but Storms goes over the line 1:30.132, just 14 thousandths of a second faster than Ale. Takes the best of the rest back from the Williams driver. So Krytek the only car on a flying lap at the moment, and has invalidated his lap somewhere in the first 9 corners. Grant retires from the session safe, what looks to be safe on a 28.2. Only one other car below the 1:30s, let alone the 1:29s, as Ryan heads out on track for the first time today in the neon green fighting machine of the Kick Sauber on a set of the yellow wall medium compound tyres. Haven't seen WRT Rossi out on track yet, using the correct driver number as well in that game tag, of which I very much approve. Well done, Rossi. Il Dottore, of course, famous for riding the number, driving the number 46 endurance car at the moment. I think he used to ride the number 46 Yamaha bike as well in days gone by, as Ryan now starts a flying lap. Krytek also starting a new flying lap now after invalidating. Yellow flag in the first sector. That was just as cars were coming out of the pit lane. Both Aston Martins heading out on track. Moomin Rider and Z2 nose to tail pretty much. QB still out on track, going round in the Ferrari. This a new flying lap will come up to, will follow him up to the middle sector split, and see he is down by nearly half a second. So QB looking to get into the 131s here, challenge Osborne, get himself away from the slower drivers of the grid so far, as Jabba starts a flying lap now in the Kick Sauber. We'll follow along with Jabba when we've got a bit more to report. We're 10 minutes into this first round of qualifying with just 8 minutes to go. QB on the run to the line. It's a 31.5, found another half second in the final sector, pretty much did QB. Goes P8 in front of Osborne, just behind the Dutchie. That done on a set of the soft compound tyres. Jabba on an invalidated lap, you can see there. Ryan though on a valid lap, so too was Krytek. Looks like Ryan may have backed out of the of his lap in the Mercedes, so it's just down to Krytek in the Williams. What can the Williams driver do? Teammate up in P4, Krytek goes to P3, 29.4. Finally we have another car into the sub 130s, but he's still nearly a full second off, 0.8 of a second off Regent, 1.2 off Grants in the Ferrari. Who's going to get close to the prancing horse today? Because it doesn't look like anyone is so far, as Z2 goes on another hot lap. Ryan set a 1:47.4. It's Regent back out on track, 6.5 minutes to go. Jabba back to the pits. Ryan going long at turn, what's that, turn 7 it looks like to me, on the track map, having to do a flick spin. Let the cars pass, rejoin safely, nicely done from Ryan. Don't get caught down there too often, just carrying too much speed down toward turn 7. Z2 on a hot lap here for Aston Martin. Good car control out of the hairpin there, off the Marina front. So easy just to drop it if you're not careful. Moomin Rider over the line, 29.6. Goes to P4 just behind Krytek. Z2 here in the other Aston Martin, round 18 and 19 on the run to the line, 1:30.2 goes up to P7 for Z2. Next car to the line is Storms to start another flying lap. That's on a set of the white-walled hard compound tyres in qualifying. Storms going rogue, just looking to get some practice in. I can only assume, surely he's not going to improve on a 1:30.1 on a set of hards. Rogue choice indeed. Jabba on another outlap. That's a brand new set of softs on the Kick Sauber, you can see there. Schnurlink starting a new lap as well, so too has Osborne. Regent meanwhile coming to the end of a new hot lap, has bailed out of it, gone back to the pits. Keeping his eye in, ready for quali 2. Just needs to make sure he gets round the second part of qualifying and he will retire from the session. Seems entirely fair enough. As into the box there comes the Mercedes of Ryan Matham. As the next car to the line will be Moomin Rider, who is coming back to the box, having just set that 29.6. Then it'll be Storms, who is on a invalidated hot lap on those set of hard compound tyres. He's just taking the sheen off them. Alay retires from the session on a 1:30.1. Reminder, we're only looking for the slowest two cars off this first round of qualifying, so Alaire 8th should be fairly safe there on a 1:30.1. NMX James going for another hot lap now. Jabber about to start a flying lap now. Next then to the line will be Schnelling in the Alpine. Over the line, improves to a 31.2, goes in front of his teammate and goes up to P9. Regent saying that that run there was a scrubbed set of softs they used for that first run. Feeling he needs to keep his eye in a little bit more, not having the practice session beforehand. So Regent then maybe expect him to just get faster over these rounds of qualifying, as next to the line is QB in the Ferrari. 3 minutes to go here in Singapore. The first round of qualifying, QB currently P11 on a 1:31.5, starting a new flying lap now. Next to the line will be Daddy Cool in the Haas. Goes over the line, improves by 1.3 seconds, 31.6. The track is rubbering in. If you haven't got a lap in yet, if you're down probably below P10, I'd be wary, because the track looks like that is wubbering in fairly quickly. Storms has just told me that 130.1 was done on a set of hards. I'm going to check that, because no, fair enough. Storms on a double set of hards on that run. I thought you were on a set of mediums, but fair play. NMX James over the line improves by 0.7 of a second to 1:30.094. Jabber over the line goes to a 1:30.043 and takes P5 straight away from NMX James. Finally out on track, we see WRT Rossi in the Japan special livery of the Haas, with a minute 44 left on the clock. If you're not on track round by about now, you're not likely to get another lap in. So Ryan, Jam and Osborne all very much in the danger zone here, should Rossi set a good lap time. As I say that, and out onto the track comes Osborne. No sign yet of Ryan or Jam Toast, so those two still in the box. All Rossi needs to do set anything below a 131 anything below a 132. Rossi should be through to the second round of qualifying in the Haas. Here we go. WRT Rossi for the first time tonight gets a flying lap underway. Also out on track on a hot lap is the Dutchie, finally running a set of the Red Wall soft compound tyres. Has found some time in the first sector, unsurprisingly. He set that first lap. There was the first lap of the night, the 1:31.3 on a set of mediums. The car on track is Jabber, just circling, just keeping the eye in on that kick Sauber, going for another lap here with 22 seconds left on the clock. Osborne just coming down toward turn 16, 17 now. 10 seconds left on the clock. Osborne right on the bubble here of being safe. 5, 4, 3. Will have time just about to start a flying lap. Will he? Yes, he will. Just about gets over the line before the checkered flag falls. That couldn't have been any tighter had the V-Carb driver tried. Meanwhile, the car that has just gone over the line behind was the Dutchie, improves to a 1:30.181 P9 and is safe. Rossi in the Haas car will be the next to the line. As I say, just needs to do a 1:32 to be through to the second part of qualifying. Just needs to keep it inbounds. Don't want to get invalidated now. As Rossi then into the last couple of corners. It's going to be a 1:31 flat. Goes to P11. Knocks Jam Toast and Ryan out of qualifying at the first round. Osborne still on a lap and is finding time through the first section. A slight wiggle there through the exit of the sling. Jabber finding time as well, down by half a second through the first two sectors. Oh, and sliding out of turn 17 goes the kick Sauber. This is just being done for pride. Jabber over the line, lost a couple of tenths in the final sector. It doesn't matter, it's a 29.8. He's safely through in P5. Osborne on the run to the line. down by 7/10 of a second on a previous personal best, is already safe. As I say, just being done for pride. Is this for Osborne? Around the final couple of corners, on the run to the line, Osborne safely through in P12. James G saying using manual gears for the first time tonight. Well, James, congratulations for making that step up. I hope you can get used to it fairly quickly. Not an easy track to learn how to use a fully manual gearbox, but P6 for James in the Red Bull, the sole Red Bull, seeing off Storms as well. Storms doing that run on a set of hards is still out there for me. It's like fair play. Jam Toast unable to set a lap time on the softs. Ryan unable to set a fully flying lap time at all. The two we lose. As we head now toward the second round of qualifying, the clocks get reset. We're down to 15 minutes and 15 drivers. As the green flag flies down the far end of the pit lane. Just heard Ryan Matum was having hardware issues with that Mercedes, so could explain why that I was only able to set that 147. Hopefully we'll be able to get it sorted out for the race to come. Meanwhile, we're back to qualifying, and there is a hive of action happening down in pit lane. As coming down onto the track, we have Alele, Osborne, Z2, the Dutchie. Who else is rolling? We've got Region in the McLaren. We've got Storm in the McLaren. We've got the Ferrari of Grants. The Haas of Daddy Cool. He's done a good job making it out of the first round of qualifying. Always nice to see Daddy Cool doing well. Z2 coming out on track as well. Here comes James in the Red Bull, as he says, using manual gears for the first time tonight. As I say, a difficult track to learn manual gearing. So we wish James all the best for the season, for the session. Jabba out onto track as well in the Kick Sauber. Also coming, we have Rossi is rolling. So too is QB. Are we going to see all 15 cars rolling down onto the track at one time? Yes, we are. Do they know something that we don't know? Are we going to see rain here in qualifying? Has it become imperative for the drivers to get a lap in before a weather front hits? Well, it is certainly what traditionally happens in real life Singapore, so let's see what goes on over the next 12 minutes 45 seconds as Alele starts and the first flying lap of qualifying 2. Oh, and gets loose out of turn 3, nearly goes into the barrier but goes all four wheels over the white line and invalidates this flying lap. So the first car on a flying lap therefore is Z2 in the Aston Martin. Z2 in the number 2. We're going to follow Z2 then. Behind is Osborne. The car behind, 26.7 for Z2. Osborne through the first sector, 27.1. So 4/10 advantage to Z2 then. Osborne left all of the time out on track right to the end. We saw the track rubber in as the first round of qualifying went on. So expect to see something similar again as through turn 10. The Singapore sling goes. Z2, oh, nearly kisses the Tech Pro barrier on the exit of turn 11. Turn 13 then at the top end of the Anderson Bridge. All but 2 cars on flying laps at the moment. Z2 104.9 through the middle sector. Osborne 105.8. Z2 now down this long, almost back straightaway in toward turn 16, 17. Doesn't give the concrete barrier on the exit 17 a kiss. 18, 19 then the double left-hander. 130 flat for Z2 over the line. Osborne will set a 131.3. Next to the line is the Dutchy on a 30.4. The two McLarens up next. Regent on a 28.5. Done on a set of mediums. He's gone faster on mediums than he did on softs in the first round of qualifying. Storms a 29 flat, done on a set of softs. Finally we can see what kind of pace that McLaren's got. Grant's a 28 flat. Goes to the top of the timing tower for the time being. Schnelling has left the session and gone back to the pits. NMX James a 131.1 goes P7 just in front of Osborne. Moomin Rider a 30.167 goes P5. Ferrari, McLaren, Aston Martin the top five as it stands. Jabber a 130.3 over the line. Back to the pits goes Daddy Cool. Didn't want to see off that first flying lap, so next to the line then will be Rossi, who left his one and only lap right to the end of the first round of qualifying. Rossi a 32.6. Could that be on a scrubbed set of softs? Methinks maybe. As over the line goes Krycek on a 130.464 to go P8. Yet to see lap times from QB and LA. Both of their first round laps were invalidated, and LA has made it back to the pits. Schnelling and Daddy Cool bailed on their first runs and returned to pit lane. Meanwhile, almost everyone else heads back to the box. Two McLaren's going to have to wait up line astern as they are in the timing tower. As rolling back down pit lane goes Daddy Cool in the Haas for a second attempt at a first flying lap of Quali 2. QB has stayed out on track for another hot lap by the looks of it, the way he's hustling the Ferrari over the Anderson Bridge. Everyone else meanwhile go back to the box. As both Krycek and Rossi go into the box, as I say, Daddy Cool and QB then just the last two out on track. QB wanting to set a flying lap now on this first set of softs in Quali 2. It's a 32.3. Not much to write home about, truth be told, as rolling down pit lane goes one of the McLarens that's only just been wheeled away. That's Regent going out on a set of softs. The set of medium, that 1 minute 28.5 done on a set of mediums, could probably have seen him through. But he wants to go again on another set of the red-walled softs. Daddy Cool heading down toward 16 and 17 on this outlap. Moomin Rider goes for a second lap as we are halfway through qualifying 2. So too being released there, a spattering of other cars. We're going to follow Daddy Cool though through this flying lap. As back out onto the track comes Krycek and Osborne. So too I can see there the Red Bull dot of James. As well, Daddy Cool meanwhile through turn 9 up toward turn 10 in the Singapore sling. Used to be a very tight triple chicane. Remember, I want to say Adrian Sutil launching his Force India back in 2008. Kimi Räikkönen did the same, I think, a few years later in a Ferrari as... Who was that joining the session? Schnelling joining the session again in the Alpine. 6 minutes 20 left on the clock. Plenty of time to still get a respectable lap time in to give himself a chance of getting through to qualifying 3. As Daddy Cool down through turn 16 and 17. Both Haas currently in the drop zone so far. Daddy Cool over the line, 32.2 goes to P11. Beeman Rider starts a flying lap now. Regent on a flying lap as well. Let's look in and see how Regent's hot lap's going. Down by 0.3 of a second through the first sector on this particular lap. Up and over the Anderson Bridge now comes the chromed McLaren. Krytek starting a flying lap. Regent down by 6.5 of a second. Oh, and sliding his way out of turn 14 through turn 15. Regent hustling the McLaren as much as he can. How important for him would it be if he could grow his Drivers' Championship lead at the halfway point of the season? Well, that's definitely going to help. Improves by 0.75 of a second, 27.8. You can see him shaking his wheel away. He's very happy with that lap. Unfortunately, though, for Regent, this is only quali 2. He's got to do it in quali 3 for it to count for the top 10. As rolling down pit lane comes Schnelling for the second time. Hopefully this time he can complete a flying lap. 4 minutes 40 left on the clock. And we have a number of cars all on flying laps. The first of them is this man here, Moomin Rider, down by 0.6 of a second through the first couple of sectors. Flicks in to turn 18 and 19 now. On the run to the line, Moomin Rider improves by a second, 29.1. Remains, maybe jumps Z2 for P4. Next to line will be Osborne in the... It won't be Osborne, it will be Krytek in the Williams, forgive me, who goes over the line on an invalidated lap that was only fractionally faster than that lap. Osborne improves though to a 1:30.337 to goes P6. QB, Schnelling, both on outlaps in the danger zone so far. NMX James is on the bubble. Would have improved by 6.5 of a second to a 1:30.496, and that would have seen him comfortably away from the danger time, but still have left him in P10. As it happens, the lap was invalidated, so it doesn't count. The Storms heads out on track for an out lap. Next, Regent retires from the session. Schnelling starts a flying lap now. No other car in the final sector for the time being. So we'll follow Schnelling through. QB on a flying lap as well. Actually, we could have a look in and see how the Ferrari driver's getting on through this lap. 32.3 current best for QB. With 2 minutes 50 to go. We also know that QB tends to fuel the Ferrari for a couple of runs, a couple of laps per run. So maybe expect to see QB go for one last flying lap at the death as Daddy Cool heads back out onto track. QB finding 0.7 of a second just about through the middle sector so far. Would put him on a 31.6 if it were to stay like this. But QB now through turns 16 and 17. Onto the power. Moomin Rider retires from the session on a 29.1. Should be safe enough in P4. QB over the line, 1:31.496. Improves by about 0.9 of a second. Storms starts a new flying lap now. Schnelling, meanwhile, in the Alpine going into 16 and 17. The chicane that takes you under the highway. Now just the double left. Run it out wide. Alpine over the line, 1:31.2, 10th off safety, 10th off P10. Minute 40 left on the clock. It would be a hot cool-down lap to get round for one more run, but not impossible. Daddy Cool, Rossi, Ale, who's yet to set a lap time, all out on track on outlaps. James is in the pit and doesn't have time now to get round to start a flying lap, so James is hoping that he is safe on that 1:31.1. QB on a slowdown lap has plenty of time to get round again. Daddy Cool starts his final flying effort now. Needs to find 1.1 seconds on this last lap. Rossi needs to find a second and a half. Krytek does a 29.2 to go P5 in the Williams. Jabba and Z2 both on outlaps as well. Osborne's in the box off that 1:30.337. Storms on a flying lap has found half a second through the middle sector. So Storms then to make it a three-way fight at the top of the field. 28.5 improves by precisely half a second. Remains half a second off the top two for the time being, as WRT, Rossi and Ale and Jabba all start their final flying laps. QB goes for one more flying lap here as well. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2. That is for a slow moving. It's for a slow moving Krytek. This next two, we look to the Dutchie as the checkered flag falls. Schnellenk is done on a 1:31.2. The Dutchie to move himself further into the safe zone. 29.8 improves by 0.6 of a second up to P6. The Dutchie looking fairly safe for the time being. Daddy Cool finding 0.6 of a second through the middle sector. Needs to find plenty more in the final sector though to have a chance at the top 10. Daddy Cool nearly dropping it through turn 19. Holds on to it, but it's a 1:31.6. Remains P13 and is out in the second round of qualifying so far. QB's going slowly and is out in the second round of qualifying as well. So we know that Schnellink's out. So it's down to what Rossi can do. Down by 1.2 seconds in the middle sector. Ale, what can the Williams driver do as well? There's the kick Sauber of Jabber in front, who could be safe for the time being, but is on a slower lap than a previous personal best. Jabber over the line doesn't improve. Ale goes to P6. Rossi though can't. Rossi though gets knocked out by by Jabber. 1:30.3, half a second too good for Rossi. Ale knocks NMX James out as well, so the 5 we lose in the second round of qualifying. Daddy Cool will go from 15th, QB 14, Schnelling 13, NMX James 12, Rossi P11. We down to 10. Regent, Grant, Storms, Movement Rider, Krytek, Ale, the Dutchie, Z2, Osborne, Jabber. The top 10 with a 12-minute final round of qualifying to come. As there is the final classification on the second round of qualifying, and just have a look. Can Storms do anything about the two in front? Another couple of tight battles in there. Ale and the Dutchie split by not very much. Krytek and Moomin Rider split by not very much as well. The 5 we lose. Daddy Cool, QB. I've just forgotten that other 5. That's really poor from me. So we're down to 10. The clocks get reset one more time. 12 minutes of qualifying. And there is a green flag down at the far end of the pit lane. And straight away from right in front of us, you can see both McLarens wanting to get out reasonably early on track. We've got the Aston Martin moving rider, the Sauber of Jabba. In fact, 4, 5, 6 cars all rolling straight away. One of the Williams cuts in front of movement rider of Z2 there. Sorry, I should say it's not movement rider. That's the Williams though of Crytek that's leading out that gaggle of cars. Jabba, Crytek, Osborne, Storms, Z2, Regent, Grant all heading out onto track. Also rolling down pit lane, we've got the Duchy and Moomin Rider LA. The only car staying in the pit lane for the time being, waiting to pick up some clean air. Maybe, of course, such a long lap here in Singapore. Well, comparatively long lap here in Singapore, but so much downforce generated by these cars. The dirty air, you really can feel it. If you're within a couple of seconds on of the car in front. But no, LA choosing to stay in the pit lane, leaving us with just 9 cars out on track for the time being. And the first car to set a quali 3 lap time will be Jabba. You could see the shine on those red-walled soft compound tyres. That's a brand new, that's a sticker set, that is. There's Jabba around turn 18, 19, dials up the kick-saber, and away he goes for the first lap in qualifying. Crytek will be the car behind Jabba. Then will be the 2 McLarens of Storms, then Regent. There's Jabba down through turn 5 now. Open up the DRS. Flick through turn 6, the shortest distance possible. 26.9 for Jabba through the first sector. Crytek coming up to that split now. 26.9 the comparison to beat. It's a complete match. It's a 26.9 as well between Jabba and Crytek. Jabba already through turn 9 up toward the Singapore sling at turn 10. You can see almost on the tarmac there the different shades of where there's a clean racing line versus a dirty racing line, or the clean racing line versus the dirty track. The marbles and just the other detritus getting left away. 104.2 for Jabba through the middle sector for Crytek. 104.2 the comparison, 104.4, so it's advantage Jabba through the after matching through the first sector, advantage Jabba through the middle sector. Jabba then in toward 18, 19, the double left to end this first flying lap in qualifying 3. 29 flat, that's the target for them all to aim for. Crytek flicking through 18 and 19 now on the run to the line. 29.3. Storms at 28.4. Regent at 27.6. That's faster than that quali 2 lap. See celebratory burnout there, but what about Grant's? It's a 27.568, just over a tenth faster. Grant steals it back for Ferrari on the first run of qualifying. Osborne over the line on an invalidated lap, so too went Z2 on an invalidated lap. Moomin Rider 29.5, the Duchy 29.5 as well, just 600ths splitting the Duchy and Moomin Rider. Regent and Grant are doing gladiatorial battle here in qualifying at Singapore. 7.5 minutes to go in the third round of qualifying. Still no sign yet of a lay for the Williams team. All other cars are out on track at the moment. We've seen lap times from 7 of them. As Those that have done their first flying laps head back to the pits. We follow Z2 and Osborne, who's just gone deep there into the Tech Pro barrier at turn 14. This, though, seemingly a slow lap for the V-Carb car, who now peels back to pit lane. So too does Z2. So we've seen the first salvo of flying laps then. Everyone coming back to the pits. We had 9 cars on track. We're now down to precisely 0. So once more, there'll have to be some queuing in a pit lane for the various garages. Of course, only one garage per team, one set of crew per team. So if you're the second car in line, as Moomin Rider's realising there, you've got to wait for your teammate to be serviced. That's rolling straight away there. Jabba in and out of the pit lane. Looking to maybe try and get 3 flying runs done here in the final round of qualifying. This will need to be a very quick run indeed. That is a brand new set of softs on the Kick Sauber car. Of course, going out at this point, no one else going to be on track. So no guarantee, no chance, or very little chance, sorry, of traffic. Osborne going out again. One of the 2 drivers who was out in that first squadron of cars, unable to set a flying lap time. So Osborne needs a lap here as well, a valid lap here as well. Moomin Rider coming in and going straight back out again to improve from P6 on a 29.5. No one else diving back out onto track so quickly after coming back in. As Bavish joins the session. And Jabba dials up the Kick Sauber one more time. Was the first car to set a lap in Quali 3, 29 flat. Sees him currently in P4. Needs to find 0.6 of a second to challenge Storms and P3 on the grid. Flicks it through turn 5. Oh, and into the, you can see both left-hand side wheels quite forcefully hitting the barrier there on the exit of turn 5, but it's given him a bit of speed maybe. Allowed him to carry a bit more speed as he's found a 1/10.5 nearly through the first sector, but a lock up into turn 8 and the rear end getting loose. Jabba, this lap looking scruffy so far as both McLarens head down pit lane for presumably the final time in this qualifying session. Oh, and Jabba again wide out of turn 11, maybe a little love tap with the Tech Pro in the rear left. And now out of turn 13 into turn 14, improving by 0.04 of a second. Back end of that car not wanting to grip much at all. In toward turn 16, 17. And no, Jabba bailing from it. Back to the pit lane, maybe just will have time to get round for one final qualifying effort, but it will need to be almost a racing pit stop for Kick Sauber. To get that car around again. As Alea comes out onto track for the first and only time this final round of qualifying. Who else is on a lap? Moomin Rider on a lap, finding marginal gains through the first sector. Osborne also on a lap as well. Z2 heads out onto track. 1 minute 50 left on the clock. Kicks out, but need that car back in the garage and need some new tyres on it fast. It's Osborne over the line, 34.6, 1 minute 40 left on the clock. Unless he abandoned out of that lap reasonably quickly, that will be the best he can do in this final round of qualifying. And Jabba is rolling down pit lane again, minute 30 left on the clock. I don't think it's really going to be enough time to get round for a final lap in qualifying. 28.8 for Moomin Rider. If you can hear the beeping in the background, I apologise. That's my flatmate cooking dinner and seems to have set off the smoke alarm. It's all fine. I'm sure it's not a fire risk. As the Duchy starts a new flying lap now, so too does Grants. Here we go. So Regent versus Grants. What can they do? Regent found a 1/10 of a second through the first sector. We'll compare it to Grant's as soon as we see Grant's first sector split time. LA starting a flying lap now. Z2 will get round in time. Jabba will not so. Regent 102.7 down by 0.3 of a second through the first sector. Grant's not improving through the first sector. The McLaren's looking good here. Can the McLaren steal it from the Ferrari at the end? Z2 starts his final flying lap now. Osborne has found time in the middle section. He did abandon that last lap soon enough to get one more run in. It's a 29.8. Doesn't improve his position. He stays P8. The Regent, meanwhile, 27.481. Goes to the top of the standings. 0.08 of a second clear of Grant. Here comes Storms next to the line. It's an invalidated lap. It doesn't count. Checker flag falls. Jabba missed it by only about 3 or 4 seconds. So Jabba, best he can do is start P5. Here comes Krytek to the line. Improves by 0.3 of a second. Stays P6 on a 29 flat. Next to the line will be the Duchy in the Alpine. Improves time but not position. 29.1. Stays P7. Moomin Rider heads back to the pits. He is done. Grant's found time through the middle sector. 102.999. Needs to be a good final sector for Grant. He's done it! By 33 thousandths of a second. Grant steals back pole from Regent in the last word of qualifying. Z2 on a lap as well. So too is LA in the Williams. Where can he put the Williams? It's only the 4th row of the grid to 29 flat, half a tenth off his teammate Krytek. 700ths clear of the Duchy. Z2 the last car to set a flying lap time. Z2 flicks it through turn 18 and 19. The Aston Martin goes up to P9, 29.6. That brings an end to qualifying. No one is on a lap. Grant steals it back from Regent at the death. Setting us up for a very exciting race to come. So as the cars get pushed away back into the garage, got to try and take a breather and reset from what was a very, very hectic final round of qualifying there. And so there is the final classifications. Just 33 thousandths separate the front row of the grid. Only 5 thousandths of a second. I missed that one entirely. 5 thousandths of a second between Jabba and Crytek, only 600ths of a second between Jabber, and both pairs are Williams. LA then just another couple of hundredths back. So qualifying done. 50% race to come in 5 minutes. Reminder for any drivers watching, do not ready up. Let the admins sort that out. Bavish hopping in to a car as well. I believe there's a chance that Welsh Sponge will be joining us as well. So we wait now. We let the tension build. And it looks like someone may have readied up. So there will be for a lobby reset in just a few moments' time. So the penalty. And so the standard penalty for Z2 will be grid drop to the bottom of the pack. And while there is the lobby reset, I'm going to pause the stream here for a second. And I will restart it very shortly once the lobby has reset. So folks, I'll see you all very shortly, but for now, goodbye. Well, my friends, welcome back to MSC F1. We are just about getting ready for season number 8, round number 5, the Singapore Grand Prix. Apologies for ending the last stream. I needed to quickly go back through and provide the qualifying order for the race. Now, reminder for all drivers watching the stream, do not ready up until the host does so. The host, I'm not even going to guess who it is tonight. And remember to put your setups on, but reminder, wait for the host to ready up. But the adjusted grid order now with the grid penalties and new drivers start is as thus. On row 9 is Zito and Bavish. Row 8, Ryan and Jam Toast. Row 7, that's not how numbers works. Row 7, Daddy Cool QB. Row 6, Schnellink and James. Row 5, Rossi and Osborne. Row 4, Dutchy and Ale. Row 3, Krytek and Jabba. Row 2, Moomin Rider goes behind Storms, and on the front row of the grid go Grants and Regent. As some of you eagle-eye viewers may have just noticed, we are currently midday here in Singapore. Question was potential restart, set it back tonight, but no, we're going to the Dutchy making the call, and we are going racing no matter what. So, boys, I hope you're all ready. You're all ready to go. As we are nearly ready to go racing again. Let us know if you are watching along at home. Any crazy suggestions, thoughts and feelings, predictions maybe for the race coming up. And we'll find out in about 45 minutes time, 31 laps or so, how correct you were feeling. As we get ready for the formation lap. So we get underway for the formation lap. Let's have a look and see what tyres everyone is going to be on. It gives us a look into drivers' possible strategies going forward. So it is a wall of yellow on that timing tower. Everyone but one car has gone for the medium tyres, and there is the one car that hasn't. Bavish has gone for the white-walled hard compound tyres, as the region, well, it is definitely dusk here at Singapore, judging by the light quality around the track. That's kind of circa free practice 1 light condition, so some of the drivers may have to adjust braking zones and the like. But these drivers, we've seen them enough now, haven't we all, folks? We know how skilled they are. And what about this battle waiting for us at the front? Grants versus the chrome nose McLaren of Regent. Storms in the regular livery McLaren goes from P3, the clean side of the grid. Watch for him potentially getting a good start. Is that the Jenson Button tribute helmet? No, it isn't. Just thought I saw the British flag. Watch out for Bavish and Z2 making their way up from the back of the grid. Of course, we didn't see Bavish qualify. We know that Z2 qualified in the top 10. So, watch for them making their way forwards as the grid begins to form up and Storms goes long in the grid box. Moonman Rider gets it right. So too does I was going to say so too does Jabba, but Jabba goes long as well. As we wait for them to form up to their 9 rows on the grid. And then the eyes turn to the gantry above the drivers. We wait for those 5 all-important red lights. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And it is lights out and we are racing in Singapore, and it's a fairly even start across for the front row of the grid. Grant goes chopping across the nose of Regent, who just goes dancing around the outside at turn 1, just about keeps it inbounds at turn 2. There's a little bit of a love tap at turn 3. Here comes Storms trying to get his nose in around the outside. Jabba's made a good start and is up in front of Moonman Rider into P4. Moonman Rider then P5, Crytek, Alele, the Dutchy, Rossi, Osborne, NMX James nearly getting sideways out of turn 5. From Jam Toast, Schnelling, Bavish has made a flying start already up to P14 on those hards and challenging Schnelling here down toward turn 7. QB, Daddy Cool, Z2, Ryan, the running order as Moonman Rider dropping back out of turn 7. Oh, and it's 3 wide into turn 8. That was never going to work, and into the wall there goes the Alpine of, I want to say that was the Dutchy. There was Haas caught up in it as well, I presume therefore of Rossi. And Moonman Rider, after going backwards at turn 7, just getting overly aggressive there and sending it into the side of the Haas car there. But back at the front of the field, Rossi falling still back down the order. Back at the front of the field, Regent leads the way from Grants and Storms. The front 3 nearly have a full second back now to Jabba, who's then got Alele, Crytek, NMX James continuing that fast start up to P7. Avoided the carnage at turn 8, and he's now in P7. The Dutchy, Osborne, Jam Toast made a good start as well, already up to P10 in the V-Carb. Teammate in front, can he hold off Moonman Rider and Bavish behind to help his teammate grow the gap out a little bit more? Schnelling then P13 from QB, Rossi, Z2, Daddy Cool and Ryan, the running order as they finish lap 1. Regent onto lap 2 has barely half a second back to the Ferrari. And out of turn 5, we're going to see the first dose of DRS today. Find out how aggressive it is. 4 DRS zones on this track, and they're all rather knife blocked toward the start/end of the lap as Grant's there. Sends one up the inside at turn 7. Regent hangs it around the outside, and there's a lockup and there's contact as Grant goes into Regent. Through goes Storms up to P2. I want to know whether Regent was trying to... what happened at turn 7, because it looked like Regent went deep, held the position. Grant's unhappy about it, sent one up the inside at turn 8 and just wasn't enough room by the time they got to the apex. Now over the Anderson Bridge we go. Alele right up the backside of Jabba for P4 as around turn 13, top of the hill, back down the marina. Storms with DRS this time on Grant, has Regent just behind. Alele trying to shape up on Jabba, So too James on Krytek. Nothing going back there. Osborne maybe trying to shape a move on Moomin Rider, trying to shape a move on Osborne as both Moomin Rider and Bavish has got past Jam Toast somewhere earlier on this lap. Meanwhile, we follow back to the battle of the leaders. And Regent right up the tail of his teammate Storms, who's just picked up a 3-second time penalty already for multiple track extending. Through goes Regent past Storms. Grant goes purple. Regent no. Back on the rear diffuser of the Ferrari. 8/10 the gap. Yellow flag sector 3. Z2 10-second time penalty for speeding in the lane as he retires from the session. Was going to start P9 originally. Was the reason for the reset, and it has all gone wrong today for Z2. So there you see Jabba and Alay wheel to wheel. Alay up the inside. Jabba has to take avoiding action round the outside. Did he keep all 4 wheels inside the white line? But here comes Krytek and NMX James. Moomin Rider and Bavish have both got past Osborne down at turn 7. Osborne trying to send it back up the inside at turn 8. Doesn't get anywhere. He stays in P11. As Regent now 7/10 behind Grant. Jabba dropped off somewhat already, gap up to 1.6 between himself and his teammate in front. His teammate now just in DRS range. 4 DRS ranges between T13 and T7, sorry. Regent going to be using every single one of them to stay as close as he can to the rear diffuser on that Ferrari. Meanwhile, Alay tucked up behind. Jabba has Krytek and James for very close company. Jabba driving the best of the rest race so far. Regent goes purple on the 32.9. Rossi gets past QB down toward turn 16-17. There is the battle of the leaders. This feels to be the best overtaking spot out of turn 5 down toward turn 7 if you were close enough, but Regent half a second back. The Ferrari very quick in a straight line, it seems. Regent unable to make any headway on Grant's in the Ferrari. Alay goes around the outside this time, and Jabba, and there's contact, and around goes Alay. He loses out to the Dutchie. Jabba loses out to James and Krytek, who make their way past. Alay still pointing the wrong way. He's got back going, but he's down now in P10 behind Bavish and Moomin Rider as well. Osborne in P11 from Jamto Schnelling. Rossi then P14 from QB. Daddy Cool, who has dropped it out of, where's that, turn 8. Ryan then P17. Meanwhile, battle at the front. Just a few hundredths of a second, a few car lengths as they make their way through turn 14 between Regent and Grant. And now it's the longest DRS stretch of them all. Regent gaining. Too far back on this occasion to try and make a move. You can see how powerful the DRS range is. DRS here is in Singapore. Storm's already 3.5 seconds back off the leading pair. Now Krytek is at the front of the train. What can he do about having James, Jabba, the Dutchie behind him? I say that, and Jabba has fallen off somewhat from James and Krytek. Still inside DRS range, but the gap definitely growing somewhat. As we look back to Grants versus Regent out of turn 5, on to this straightaway at the end of the first sector. Open up the DRS. Regent has a better run this time around. Grants goes defensive to the inside. The McLaren's too far back to have a look, but he's definitely showing the nose. Can he go for the old up and under? Nose too far back. There's an issue down at turn 5 as Jabba has lost out to the Dutchie and Bavish. Moomin Rider has completely binned it on the inside of the corner. Has to wait for QB to go past before he can reverse out and go pointing the right way again, but damaged front wing there. Moomin Rider having a very, very rough race indeed. Regent's got past Grant while we went to check back. Maybe the old up and under did work for Regent. Shouldn't have looked away from this battle. This battle has been going on since the start of the season, it feels like, and now down toward turn 14 we go for the 5th time of 31, and Grant's now behind the McLaren, has the DRS. Does he have the drive and the battery to try and make a move? He's gaining, showing the nose of the Ferrari up towards 16-17, too far back to send to try and send it in. Ale behind Jabba one more time. Down in P9, going slowly. Jabba heading back into the pits. Front wing damage, so too for Ale. I wonder whether these two have been caught up again since we last saw them. Jabba with a 10-second speeding in the lane penalty. As the Kick-Sauber and Williams make their way into the box, a set of hards and a set of mediums should see them to the end of the races. Here we go, battle of the leaders once more time. Grants goes up the inside, block pass on Regent. Regent though still there, he gets to fight back on the inside at turn 8. And it just returns the favour with the block pass. Are they still wheel to wheel by the time they get down to turn 9? Yes, they are. Here comes Grants one more time. And there's a little bit of contact as Regent was forced to go right up into the Tech Pro barrier there. Now in toward the Singapore Sling. It's not often you see cut side by side here. Regent does very well to hang on to it as the back end of the McLaren tried to step out through turn 10. Grants holds on to the lead for the time being, or sorry, takes the lead for the time being, but now out of turn 13 off the Anderson Bridge. DRS, the advantage swing backs to Regent on the way down toward turn 14. No move coming here, but maybe a good run through this corner. Needed a slightly better run than that. Looks like he took too much curb on the inside to really maximise this run down toward turn 16, 17. That's not going to stop Regent though, who sends one past up the inside. Bit of a front lock up into turn 16, but McLaren gets stopped plenty well enough and just in time as well. He's leading the race one more time, going on to lap 7 of 31. Looking down the order, Bavish and the Dutchie very close to each other down in P6. As Grants and Regent going wheel to wheel. I wasn't expecting a move in toward turn 1. So often you see an overtake up there. They're still wheel to wheel out of turn 3. Now down toward turn 4 and 5. It's going to be Regent, I think, with the DRS on the inside at 5. There's some more wheel banging there. And now he has the DRS, and surely now on the drag race, with the drag reduction system helping the McLaren out, Regent gets back to the front of the field. Meanwhile, Bavish versus the Dutchie. This was the battle I was having a look at as they were coming over the line. Bavish looking to the inside. He started P18, P17, remember. He's already now battling for P6, trying to go around the outside at turn 8 on the Dutchie. You have to wake up very early to catch the Dutchie short on a move like that. As Grant and Regent head once more over the Anderson Bridge into turn 13. Love seeing the different lines you can take through that corner. You can cut the nose off it or really straight line the exit depending on how you come into that corner. And now Grants needs the help of DRS to close that gap back down. Hopefully neither of these drivers, has been a fair amount of wheel banging and wall tapping. Hopefully there's no damage between the two as through turn 16 and 17 we go. To end lap 7, we've got a slow moving Red Bull down was down the exit of 15 who seems to have spun. Bavish has spun in an incredibly weird spot, needs to get moving again before getting disqualified. Does a flick spin, will come and will restart behind QB. Very weird incident there for Bavish as Grants and Regent heads more once down to P5. Bavish gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting. Must have straight line turn 16 or 17, but here comes Grants on Regent. He's going to have to go the long way around. Souls the dummy, goes back to the inside. Bavish gets a 10-second penalty for speeding in the lane, retires from the session. Grants goes deep into turn 5. Turn 7, sorry. Regent with the up and under has to go around the outside at turn 8. They're still wheel to wheel. Now he's got the inside at 9. Grants tries to close the door on him. Jabba retires as well. It's all going on here at Singapore. Now down toward turn 10. Once more we're going side by side. Now Grants is going to be having to hold off for the undercut from Regent as they make their way over the Anderson Bridge down toward turn 13. Surely we're not seeing a move there. A la Massa and Bruno Senna all those years ago. I want to say 2012, 2013. Now Regent with the help of DRS down toward turn 14. This straight not really long enough. That's not going to stop Regent from having a look up the inside. There was a lock up there. There may have been a bit of wheel to side pod action, and now out of 13 down to out of 14 down through turn 15, the corner that doesn't really exist. The DRS gets Regent back in front of Grant. Storms with another 3-second time penalty has rejoined the battle. Here comes Krytek as well. Storms heads into the box on what is presumably therefore a 2-stop race. having only done 10 laps on that set of medium tyres. And now in toward turn 1, 2 and 3 we go for the 9th time. I'm out of breath, you can probably hear me already blowing away. I think the stewards may have a fair amount to look at after this one. As out of turn 5 we go, Grant with DRS. Storms released from pit lane, will probably come out behind QB. Grants meanwhile goes for the dummy to the inside, and gets it a little bit wrong, and around goes Regent. I think Grants there wasn't quite far enough in front, and Regent then flick spins back round down to P4 he goes, behind NMX James, who's having a weldy up to P3 at the moment from P11 on the grid. Regent though trying to pull alongside down toward turn 10. Surely he's just got to be be careful here, as Krytek now beginning to put a little bit of pressure on Grant. Who'd have expected that 3 laps ago when there was a 5 to 10 second gap between this pair. And now out of turn 13, no DRS to help Krytek. Regent though with a bucket full of DRS down toward turn 14. It's where he tried a very audacious dive bomb last time around. He has the Dutchie just behind him. Regent out of turn 14. Now another dose of DRS. Through 15 we go. McLaren versus Red Bull down toward turn 16. James very fast in a straight line there. Regent unable to get the drive, but through turn 16, 17, James still learning those gears, was a little bit snaky. And Regent heads to the pit lane. 2-stop race then seems to be the way to go here, as the Dutchie now closes right in on NMX James. On to the McLaren go. I can't tell what they are. They look like a set of the hard compound tyres. As here comes Storms down the pit lane. We know the undercut is very, very powerful here in Singapore, and we know that Regent had that spin as well on the in lap. And indeed it was a set of the hard tyres going on to the McLaren of Regent. James has succumbed to the Dutchie, who's up now into P3. Osborne P5 from Jamto's P6. Schnelling still stuck behind the 2 V-Cub cars. Has Rossi for company behind, and will have Storms arriving on the scene in a very short matter of time, no doubt. Regent letting the world know his displeasure with Grant in that race again. That little bit of action, that contact down at turn 7. Always the same, says Regent in team radio. Meanwhile, Regent gets past QB up toward turn 10. He's got a job to do now if he wants to win this race. He's got a job to do if he wants to build on that championship lead that he has. Storms already onto the back of the train, being led by Osborne and Jam Toast. Up toward turn 14 we go. Big lock up there from Rossi. Can Storms get a good enough exit on that fresher hard compound tyre rubber? And he's loose and he's wide and he's into the wall. Storms with the DRS open through turn 15. It's such a high speed part that with that corner it is so easy just to let the rear slide out a little bit. And James then Storms back to the pits with a broken front wing, will be absolutely fuming. Nothing really he could have done about it. It picks up a 10-second time penalty to add the insult to the injury. NMX James and the Dutchie still having their own battle in what is essentially the best of the rest at the moment. Storms comes out the box. Will come out the box in P13. A fair way behind Movement Rider. Yellow flag, sector 2. That is for Rossi, who's dropped it out of turn 7. Got back underway, unfortunately for Regent, just in front of him. So Regent will still have to fight to battle that car. Alei got past QB after all the dramas that Alei had early on in the race against Jabba. Bavish saying that he clipped the wall and span the daylight of this lobby reset, throwing him off. Didn't adjust the setup and called the day there. Fair enough from Bavish. Meanwhile, Jamto's still tucked up behind Osborne. Rossi has fallen back behind Regent now, who's 2 seconds behind Schnellenk in what is now the battle for P7 on track. NMX James fallen away from the Dutchie somewhat. Krytek now 3 seconds behind Grant. Rossi picking up a 3-second time penalty. 12 laps into this 31 lap race we are, and it has been action from go to woe to this point in the race. As Rossi now into the box for Haas. Off that set of medium tyres, has done him 12 laps. It is just a racing pit stop. On go the set of hards. 19 laps to do. That'll be feeling very second hand, but they may just about do it for Rossi, unless Rossi chooses to pit toward the end of the race. Here comes Storms though at the final corner. That was the battle that sent Storms into his second pit stop of the race. But Storms will come out behind. Regent's got past Schnelling and Jam Toast already and is now tucked in behind Osborne. And it's a drag race out of turn 9. Not often you see a move done there. Regent absolutely flying at this point in the race. Some 16 seconds now behind James. And with somewhat of a vendetta, you would imagine, against Grant after that tag that sent him round at turn 7. Rossi came out just in front of Storms as they make their way through turn 7, 8 and 9. And up toward turn 10, the McLaren trying to have a go on Rossi into the Singapore sling. That's still really difficult for me to say, but nothing going there. Regent having now clear jammed Osborne. A 13.5 second gap now to NMX James. That gap coming down, well, metre by metre. It was 16 seconds when he made it past the two V-carb cars. Storms meanwhile still tucked in behind Rossi. Schnellhenk's gone to the pits for the Alpine team now. Storms, this is where it went wrong for him last time around against Rossi. This time he waits, tries to show the nose of the McLaren up the inside into turn 16. Nothing goes. Meanwhile, where is Schnellenk? He's been released from the box. Here come Rossi and Storms down the main straightaway. This is going to be tight. I think the Haas and the McLaren will make it past the Alpine. Yes, they do. We've got a yellow flag up at the far end of the track. That is Ryan, who has binned it at turn 13. Through go the leaders. I thought for a second the Ferrari may have been involved, but no. Regent now 10 seconds behind NMX James, and absolutely flying. QB has just locked out to Moomin Rider for P9. LA has made it past QB. Schnelling came out behind, 3 seconds behind Storms and Rossi, who are still as they were into turn 7. And into the box then comes the race leader Grant for Ferrari. One stop race, medium to hard to the end, should do him fairly nicely for here. How much time has Regent made up since that spin and collision a few laps ago? We'll need a good lap here. James into the box as well. Here comes the McLaren. Here comes Regent, who's just gone purple on a 32.6. Grant's still in the box, so Grant's then comes out a few seconds behind Regent. Who'd have guessed that when that spin happened for Regent a few laps ago? 4.5 seconds the gap between the McLaren and the Ferrari. Of course, 3-lap tyre advantage, 4-lap tyre advantage to the Ferrari from the McLaren. NMX James loses out to Moomin Rider. Yellow flag in the second sector. That is for Ryan, who is going very slowly, having into turn 8, going a lap down to Regent and Grant. LA has got past Jam Toast, is now tucked up behind Osborne into turn 8. V-carbs have been going very well, just wanting to bag some points here, and could be on track to do that with how much drama there has been going on in this race so far. Storms gets past Rossi round the outside into turn 7 as we follow LA try and clear off Osborne over the Anderson Bridge. We'll have to send it up the inside into turn 13. A rare and risky move unless he can get the up and under, and a good drive out of 13 with the help of DRS down toward turn 14 for the Williams car. He's going to have to go the long way round. Osborne's gone defensive, but just about holds on enough. But don't forget, another bout of DRS awaits LA out of turn 15 down toward turn 16, 17. Is he close enough for a move? Shows the nose but backs out of it. The Dutchie and Krytek into the box. That releases Regent and Grant back to as they were before all of the drama happened. And LA has got past Osborne, who has dived into the pits at the end of lap 15 of 31. Storms picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's another 3-second time penalty he has. He's on to 19 seconds worth of penalties. Everyone else on 3. Moomin Rider, Rossi, Schnellenk and QB. 4.5 seconds still the gap between Osborne. Out of the box, comes out behind Schnellenk, who was in that train. So too were Storms and Rossi. But that tyre advantage could be very useful for the V-Carb driver toward the end of the race. As the race just settles down for a second here, it has been very front-loaded with drama as Rossi and Storms still the closest battle on track so far. Storms now just 3.5 seconds off the back of the Dutchie. The Dutchie closing in on Moomin Rider. That will be the battle for P7 should it take off. Jam Toast needs to make a pit stop. LA will need to make at least one more stop as well. Having a look at what tyres everyone is on, there is Jam Toast heading to the pits just as I call it. LA will have to make one more stop. Everyone else is all on a set of hards. They could go to the end. Maybe Moomin Rider needs another stop to make sure that he can get to the end from there. Everyone else should get to the end. The tyres will be feeling fairly second hand, I would imagine, by the time they get there, though, if you are Regent or Daddy Cool, or Storms for that matter, Storms and Rossi for that matter. Is the Dutchie now inside a second on Moomin Rider. That tyre advantage really beginning to kick into play. Rossi as well, still inside half a second on Storms as there's a front lock up there into turn 8. So we've got a couple of battles shaping up here for the bottom end of the points scoring positions. As it stands, just a reminder, as it stands, Regent's lead in the championship would grow on Grant. As the Dutchie now just 0.4 of a second behind Moomin Rider out of turn 13. Down the marina front. The Dutchie shows the nose against the Aston Martin, nothing going there. And now out of turn 14, open up the DRS. Keep it flat through 15. Pick your move nice and early. Moomin Rider's gone defensive, goes back to the racing line. Dutchie sells him the dummy up the inside at turn 16. Good racing between two of the stalwarts of MSC F1. We've seen these two here for so many seasons now, and the Dutchie makes his way up to P6, 5 seconds off the back of NMX James. Meanwhile, yellow flag, sector 2, that is for Ryan, letting himself be lapped. We have Rossi still 0.6 of a second behind Storms, as they're now 2.7 off the back of Moomin Rider. Moomin Rider, who's just made a bit of a mistake at turn 3, just losing quite a lot of time there to the Dutchie. Jam Toast now 1.5 seconds behind Osborne. Ryan picks up a 3-second time penalty, the first of his day for track extending. The gap at the front's beginning to come down a bit, and there is part of the reason why Regent lighting up the rear tyres at a turn 14. Grant's now, the gap was at 4.5 seconds, gap down to 3 seconds, just under there or thereabouts. Regent just beginning to, I wonder whether those tyres are beginning to fall away somewhat, or whether he's just trying to buy some extra life into them. Doesn't want to make an extra pit stop if he doesn't have to. Grant goes purple though on a 32.5. Regent will be very, very aware that he is coming. It's another pit stop here. Regent would come out round about NMX James. You'd want to box to clear him. if he had the choice. As Storm's now right up on the back of Moomin Rider, who's been caught napping there at turn 16. James, as Ale heads to the pit lane, 13-14 laps to go. Set of hards will very easily do it for the Williams driver to the end, and that is exactly what is going on to the Williams. If Regent has to stop again, he'll stop to come out in front of James, stay inside the podium paying positions. He'll have to pit reasonably soon though, as Ale picks up a 10-second time penalty for crossing the line on pit exit. Movement riders come in and out of pit lane as well. That looks like a set of the mediums going on to the Aston Martin. Indeed it is. Grant's now just 1.7 seconds behind. Regent is being reeled in at an alarming rate of knots. This track is a bit of a rear tyre killer if you can't look after them. So many traction zones from so many slow speed corners, especially onto some really long straights, as Rossi looks to keep pressure on Storms in what is now the battle for P6. They have Schnelling 10.3 behind, with Ale a further 2.5 back. Gap up front now down to a 1.5 seconds. Regent has about a 25-second lead back to NMX James. That should be enough for a pit stop, you would think, and it would potentially trigger a second round of pit stops. But he'll have to do it sooner rather than later to give himself a chance of making it back, probably in 4 laps. I probably wouldn't go any further than four more laps before making an attempt at the 2-stopper. And we've seen just how surgically he can cut through the field. But Grant's, though, with that 6-lap tyre advantage, Ale picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help his mission of trying to hunt down Storms and Rossi and co. Storms and Rossi are now 5 seconds off the back of the Duchy. Moomin Rider 7 seconds off the 2 VCARB cars, who are 10th and 11th for the time being. Ale going past Schnelling there. Down toward turn 7. The 2 leaders doing battle one more time. Here we go. Round 2, Grants and Regent. The first round ended in calamity. How are we going to go this time around? You can see the taillights blinking there. Grant's going up the inside at turn 1 though. Regent, though, with the up and under, has the inside at turn 3. Doesn't have the drive on those older hard compound tyres, but will get now DRS out of turn 5 through toward turn 7. If he can get a good enough exit, he could get this back reasonably quickly here. As they blast down toward turn 7, Regent very quickly gets past Grant, and maybe a little bit of a cheeky love tap there on the way past. In toward turn 8 we go. Storm's beginning to pull away from Rossi for P6. The gap's just been slowly building. Jamtoast has closed back up to Osborne. They've realised that their best form of defence against Moomin Rider is pretty much be a rolling roadblock. Be so close together that he can't force away past. Moomin Rider goes purple on a 32-1. That done on a set of medium compound tyres. 20. We're on lap 20 of 31. 11 to go when we go over the line. And Grant's with DRS down toward turn 16. Ryan causing the yellow flag there as he gets lapped. He looks to have looped it, does Ryan, actually on the exit of turn 16. Indeed he does. Gets it pointing back the right way as he goes another lap down. I don't think now Regent's going to pit if he can. He's got the track position. Only has about 24 seconds the gap between himself and James, so I don't think enough for a pit stop, all things considered. Yellow flag sector 3, that's for Ryan getting back going again, as Regent now out of turn 5. He'll have to go defensive here. Needs a fantastic exit time after time out of that singular corner, because this is the best overtaking point on the track. Grant goes clean around the outside at turn 7. Up toward turn 8, Grant's covering the inside line, going for the block pass on Regent at the apex. He's still keeping his nose in up the inside at turn 9, but it's too flowing in the better grip for the Ferrari. Helps hold on to the lead of the race. We've got 10 to go when we go over the line next time around. Rossi's got back past Storms on the exit of turn 3. A mistake maybe for the McLaren driver. That's now for P6. Regent already falling away. The gap up to 0.8 of a second already. And here the rear end of that McLaren does not want to bite, does not want to give him any grip under traction. And it looks to me now Grant's with the pace advantage, those new tyres working an absolute treat. What is Regent going to do? Has he got anything left? No, Regent dives into pit lane then. Try and force the conversation about a 2-stop, whether this was planned or not. 10 laps to go. Set of medium tyres to the end. Should feel alright. And they are sticker yellows. They are brand new. Storms loses out to Alea as well. Those hard tyres on that McLaren have dived off the deep end of a cliff as well. By the looks of it, you can see just how hard it is. There's desync as well there. The way that McLaren jumping all over the round. And Regent out of the pit lane, maybe left it a couple of laps too long. As James goes past, we'll get a 1.5 second advantage, a 2-second advantage to try and cover his position. QB is out of the race, and that looks like that is a crash. Indeed it is. Has crashed at the Anderson Bridge. Storms retires from the session in pit lane with the desync. So one McLaren and one Ferrari full, so it's all down now to the 2 that remain. Is Grant going to need to box again? He's got plenty of time. 26, 27 seconds between himself and Regent. Regent's going to need to clear some traffic as well. As Alea is caught up to the back of Rossi. This is now the battle for P6. Both V-car movement riders got past both V-carb cars, so they're still in P10 and 11 once they've made their way past QB. Regent's got past NMX James down toward turn 14. He's now back into the podium position. Has 27 seconds to find. On Grants to try and win this race. Storm saying made a mistake down a straight, and that is what ruined his race. Alea tucked up behind Rossi going into turn 16-17. This is the closest battle on track. Osborne and Jantos have been wheel to wheel all the way through. In toward the first couple of corners, Alea and Rossi. Ryan picking up another 3-second time penalty. A couple of laps down. That he is. Down in toward turn 5 for Alea. Needs a good pickup here on the power. Moomin rider past Schnelling. Rossi doesn't help himself on the exit of turn 5. And Alea makes his way past up into P6. Regent now 23.5 seconds off Grants. The gap coming down reasonably quickly. Needs to keep some life in those tyres if there is going to be a penalty decision about that turn 7 incident. He's got to try and prove his get as close as he can to claim anything from it. Krytek currently 9.7 off Grant's, driving a fantastic race. We haven't at all mentioned the Williams. He's just been the best of the rest, almost in his own middle land, faster than kind of a lot of the rest of the midfield behind, but not quite having the pace of the leaders. Regent goes purple on a 31.1. He is absolutely flying. The gap now down to 23 seconds. And Grant's now beginning to have to wind his way through traffic. Has the Haas of Daddy Cool just in front. A reminder of everyone's penalty count. 3 seconds apiece for James, Rossi, Moomin Rider and Schnelling. 6 for Ryan, 13 for Leale, as Schnelling gets past Rossi, who's gone into the pits for a second set of hard compound tyres, and away he goes. There's everyone's tyres. 10 lap old hards for Grants, 9 lap old hards for Crytek, 2 lap old mediums for Region, 10 and 9 for James and Dutchy, hard compound tyres, 11 for Schnelling. We've seen that those hards are only really lasting 10 to 15 laps at most. So Grants may be beginning to feel some definitive wear on them. The gap down to 20.7 seconds, less than that now. Grants, though, I won't imagine would make a pit stop from here unless he went into a barrier. Jam Toast and Osborne circling as they were. The 2 V-Carb cars right next to each other, both now in the points, both now in P9 and P10. And these two, Osborne started around about this position. Jam Toast started P16 on the grid, making his way very steadily up through the order as everyone else made different strategy calls or had issues of their own. The gap at the front, 11 seconds between Crytek and Grants. Regent just 19 seconds now. So it's still just about 20 seconds between himself and Grants. Grants has picked up the pace then somewhat on this lap. The Dutchy 2.5 seconds behind NMX James, going for P4 here. James with a 3-second time penalty to serve as well. So the Dutchy just needs to stay within 3 seconds of the Red Bull in front. Rossi 8 seconds behind the 2 V-Carb cars, trying to chase down a few extra points for the Haas if he can manage it. Those new tyres will be definitively giving him an advantage. The Dutchy now just 2 seconds off the back of NMX James. Regent 7 seconds off the back of Crytek. As the gap continues to come down between himself and Grants, the gap is, what's that, around about 18 seconds now. Oh, and Regent getting loose there out of turn 5. Just following along with the McLaren driver's progress in the setting sun of a very picturesque evening it is here in Singapore. Those kind of little mistakes aren't going to help him chase down at least a P2, because if he doesn't have a P2, he will lose the lead of the championship at the halfway mark. The gap now between himself and Crytek, 6 seconds. 6 seconds with 6 laps to go. The maths is very simple. 1 second a lap is what he needs to gain on Crytek, unless Crytek picks up a penalty of some kind. The Dutchy now just 1.5 seconds behind NMX James. The Dutchy having one of those quiet classic Dutchy races, just slowly making progress, slowly picking off drivers when there's been mistakes and or mayhem. Rossi now just 3 seconds behind the 2 V-Carb drivers in front, who have been keeping reasonable pace with Schnelling, in all fairness to them. But can Rossi carve his way through in the dying laps, pick up any extra positions for the Haas? 5 seconds now between Regent and Crytek, 4.5 as he goes through the apex at turn 3. The Dutchy now 1.2 seconds behind NMX James. Rossi 1.5 off the back of Jam Toast. So tension points coming right to the end here of this Singapore Grand Prix that has felt very front loaded with action. But with 5 laps to go, almost anything still on the cards. It is still a street track. It is still so easy to make a mistake and drop it if you're not careful. Regent now 3.5 off Krytek. The Dutchie just over 1 off James. Rossi just about going to be inside DRS range on the 2 V-carbs by the time they get around to the next DRS detection zone, as is the Dutchie now on NMX James. As I say that, we'll follow this battle first, the battle for P9 between Osborne, Jam Toast and Rossi. Jam, who's been just sitting behind Osborne for pretty much all of the race. Here comes Rossi now with DRS. The fresher tyres helping him out. Jam Toast takes the racing line. Rossi, though, up the inside on the brakes, gets past and is up into P10. The Dutchie now beginning to get a sniff at the back of the Red Bull for P4. Regent 3 seconds off the back of Krytek in front. 4 laps to go, including the one we are on. Rossi's got past Osborne as well. That's at turn 10. Those better tyres really driving the Haas car forward. Now 4.2 behind Schnelling. Can he gain any more on penalty countback? The Dutchie wants to get past NMX James on track. Doesn't want to let it be done on penalty countback here. It does always feel like you've earned the position if you can take it on track rather than just off the penalties. And down the straight out of turn 5 we go. The Dutchie with DRS is definitely gaining on the Red Bull, who goes defensive. The Dutchie's going to have to go the long way round on the brakes. Good racing room given, good racing all round, but nothing going there as James runs the Dutchie onto the curb. Scrubs off any chance of a decent exit. Regent now just 1.3 off the back of Krytek. Rossi 3 seconds off the back of Schnelling and gaining as into turn 10 we go with the Dutchie and NMX James over the Anderson Bridge onto the brakes. Then here come very quickly 4 DRS zones to help the Dutchie get past the Red Bull, but a slightly snaky exit out of turn 13 for the Dutchie down toward turn 14, and a big double front lock up there does well to keep it out the barrier. The Dutchie now though on the back foot for the remainder of this lap, even with the help of this very long DRS straight in toward turn 16. Nothing going there, where once there may have been a chance at an overtake. Regent now maybe inside DRS range on Krytek for P2. No, not quite. He was just outside 1 second at the detection window, at the detection point. Rossi, who has now caught up to Schnelling. Yellow flag, sector 3. That has gone away fairly quickly. Rossi making good use with those much newer hard tyres. Yellow flag sector 2 as Ryan gets put another lap on him. The Dutchie with DRS unable to gain on James. Has to stay P5 for the time being. Regent no, won't want to stay P3 for too much longer. If he can have a choice about it. In toward turn 14 we go. Rossi and Schnelling heading in toward turn 5. Rossi will have DRS on the Alpine on the next straight. Here we go with that battle. Nothing changed between Krytek and Regent into turn 16-17 though, as here comes Rossi down the inside at turn 7. He's been making this move all day long and makes it again one more time up to P8 for the Haas driver. There we see the Dutchie and James out of 14 through turn 15. DRS again. The Dutchie just too far back on this occasion. Definitely closer than he was last time around. Didn't make their mistake at the top of turn 13. But a little brush with the wall there on exit as we look back to Regent and Krytek. Just made it out of turn 5. DRS wide open for the McLaren. Here we go. This has got to be it. 2 to go, including the one we're on. This is the penultimate lap. No, Regent just shows the nose. Doesn't want to commit to the move until the last lap. Doesn't want to give the Williams a chance at a counter pass. The Dutchie 6/10 off the back of James as we go through turn 5. The back end of that Alpine sliding about. He tried to get the power down, not wanting to comply at all. Down toward turn 7 we go, onto the brakes. Nothing going there from the time they hit the braking zone. Put the penalty count on so you can see who's going to lose out on more time potentially. More time and positions, I should say. Closest battles on track, Regent, Krytek, the Dutchy and James. Daddy Cool picks up another 3 second, his first 3 second time penalty of the day. There's Regent and James in and out of turn 16, nothing happening there. The Dutchy and the Regent and Krytek in and out of turn 16, nothing happening there. The Dutchy and James into turn 14, nothing going at this point in time. We're on to the last lap. Regent's already into turn 6. You can count them down now. Just 13 corners to go. Regent, though, will be counting down the number of missed opportunities, the number of chances of overtakes he has left on the Williams in front. Now with the DRS, now he's got to make the move, but the Williams has had a really good exit out of turn 5 down toward turn 6. Is he close enough for the lunge? No, Regent's going to have to wait until turn 14 or turn 16 to make that move. What about the Dutchy now on James? This is the closest we've seen him out of turn 3. Needs a good exit here, needs a good run through turn 5 as well. That looks pretty even, Stevens. It looks like a pretty solid run. Not fantastic, though. The James got a good exit and is good in the straight line. We know that already. Here comes the Dutchy now with DRS. No, he's too far back as well as we hit the brakes hard into turn 7. Osborne trying to get into 3 seconds behind Schnelling. The gap at just 3.5 tenths to what he needs. Here we go. Regent and Krytek, and we'd cut to it there down toward turn 14. And Regent ghosting there. I wonder whether there was contact. I wonder if there'll be something more the stewards have to look at. As Grant comes across the line, we haven't spoken about him much in the last 10 laps, comes home to win the Singapore Grand Prix. Krytek will, on paper, hold on to P2. I wonder what Regent will... I wonder what happened between himself and Regent out of turn 13. Krytek P2, Regent P3. NMX James still holding on from the Dutchy. This won't matter, but when he gets the checkered flag, he will lose the position. But the Dutchy wants to do it on the road. And here he goes now. He's gone to the outside. Now shows the nose up the inside, and there's contact. No harm, no foul, though, surely, as the Dutchy now out of turn 16 gets on the power. And NMX James will hold on to P4 on the road, but the Dutchy will take it in the standings. Alei will come home P6. Newman Ryder will lead home Rossi. Osborne lost out to Jam Toast. They're 4 tenths behind Schnelling and Schnelling's cut-off window. Newman Ryder comes home P7. Daddy Cool and Ryan P12, P13 respectively. Rossi, who drove a very, very fast final stint to come home P8, had to make a few overtakes on the road. Watch that 3 second window on Schnelling. There are the two V-cubs behind. 3.2, 3.1, 3.15, 3.10. Here we go up on the run to the line. 3.0. Oh, 37 thousandths of a second stop. Jam Toast and a P9 finish. Well, folks, there we are. That has been one hectic Singapore Grand Prix. I've been Sharp. Thank you so much for watching along with me. And there is the podium celebrations. And there are the in-game awards. Grant with the race win, Regent with the fastest lap. Moomin Rider gets the in-game driver of the day. And let us see if the podium trio of Grant, Krytek and Regent will join us in the commentary box for some interviews. But first I have to quickly give out a driver of the day award, my driver of the day award. And I'm going to give that fairly quickly to NMX James. Despite the 3 second time penalty, it would have come home P4 on track had it not been for that 3 seconds of track extending. Also, first time out using a manual gearbox. NMX James gets my vote for driver of the day. And let's see if the podium trio will join us for a quick round of interviews here. as we are joined in the interview pen by Regent. Finished the race in P3. Regent there, what happened at the end between you and Krytek? It looked like you were trying to make a move on the run down toward P14. We didn't quite see it on stream, just the ending of it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and what has also been a very hectic race all the way through for you. So Regent leaving the interview pen. I was hoping to, as you heard, hoping to ask him about that race, but nothing going. Well, Regent, can you hear us from the commentary box?
Hello.
Well, P3 for you in the end, where it kind of started position where you finished a position behind where you started, and some very hectic racing for you there. Talk us through that Singapore Grand Prix for you.
Yeah, the start was enjoyable. It was fun battling until about turn 4. And then same again as normal with this guy. I mean, no point turning up anymore in my mind. Because it's, I don't know how much you saw on stream, but from my view, it was instantly he was going to push me into a wall. Turn 6 in the first couple laps, turn 7. It's the same shit every week. And this can easily be a championship deciding result here, all down to whatever that kamikaze dive was at turn 7. But I guess it'll be all okay because the stewards just don't care when you report this guy either. So that's what it is.
I'm going to say have to say some rather inflammatory remarks there. But what happened with you and Krytek? Because obviously, we're kind of forced into the two-stopper with the contact with Grant down at turn 7. What was that, about lap 9? But then forced into the two-stopper, chased down Krytek, and it didn't go for the move into turn 7 on the last lap. So then what happened on the straight just after the Anderson Bridge between 13 and 14? Because we caught the end of it in you going slowly in the wall.
Yeah, I tried to. I heard you earlier on commentary saying something about a Felipe Massa overtake over the bridge, and late on that flipped into came into my mind. So I went up the inside. He turned in. Whether he knew I was there, whether he cared, I don't know. And on exit, I can only assume he had a massive amount of wheel spin. I was going completely straight. My wheel was straight. I have the clip already. Yeah, I got a massive whack and was sent sideways. More to my point, great driving standards in this league.
Well, kind of a shame then to end the race in such a manner. By my maths, at the moment you're going to be 4 points off the championship lead, off Grant's in the championship standings.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be.
Well, you were 8 by my math. You were 8 points clear going into today. But I'm aware I'm not entirely. I can't reel off the point scoring.
Yeah,
for MSC F1 off the top of my head on my own accord, but yeah, I'd make it about 4 points off the lead halfway through the season, and hopefully some slightly more open tracks for memory to come. What have we got with Barcelona, Monza, Hungary, Spa, Silverstone? So no more street circuits in the races to come. Does that fill you with any? I mean, of those 5 tracks, does that fill you with anything? Like you're like, I feel like I should have an advantage here, or?
Not particularly fruitful on many of the tracks coming up. I think anyone who is in the surfing knows I quite like a Monaco calendar through and through. I like my street circuits. I like Singapore quite a lot, but Very excited for Silverstone to be the finale. Yeah, that's a track with a lot of historic value to the sport. Even to sim racing, there's a lot of esport races I can think back to I've enjoyed watching around there. So that'll be a highlight for me, and especially if I can keep keep Grants within range until then. And then we'll see what I've got in store for the final race.
Well, there we are. Well, I mean, I suppose you say you like your street circuits. You do have Hungary on there, kind of known as Monaco without the barriers. Um, it's just more technical, I suppose, than that. And I mean, I absolutely agree. I think Silverstone. I mean, I think it's a joke that kind of some of these old classic venues are getting taken off the real life F1 calendar. So, very glad to see that we can keep Spa, the kind of the trio of speed, Spa, Silverstone, and Monza on the calendar for as long as we can. Well, thank you, Regent, for joining us in the interview pen. Congratulations on a P3. We will have to wait and see what the stewards say as an outcome for
I can only imagine what this
all of those incidents.
Report of this stream is going to be like.
But thank you so much for watching, everyone. I will see you all. I've been Sharp. This has been MSC F1 Season 8 Round 5 from Singapore, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. But for now, good night and goodbye.